IQ. He understands the sport. He looks at it in a mental sense. He knows what he needs to do.
And I said, yes, he did. He said, well, if Ray Leonard could beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez.
Terence got a great chance to beat him, man. You know what I mean? Terence can box, Terence can move, Terence can punch. You know what I mean? Terence ain't gonna be doing like Skull.
IQ, he is aware of the sport. Well, he considers things from a mental perspective. He is aware of his responsibilities. And I added, Terence Crawford's harsh training for the Canelo battle astounds Lennox Lewis. He commends Crawford for his self-control and keen boxing intelligence, pointing out that he knows exactly how to win when he focuses. Lewis emphasizes that this kind of preparation demonstrates that Crawford is completely prepared for the task.
Top and be at the top. He moves very well. He's a very elusive mover, and his work rate is high.
I won't ask you who's going to win the fight because I know it's a question you've probably been asked a million times, but I will ask you, do you think this fight goes the distance, or do you think this fight ends inside the distance?
Interesting.
Brian Bomac McIntyre, Terence Crawford's trainer, has stated unequivocally that his boxer is not being overpowered by the moment. Bomac asserts that Terence is not under any pressure to participate in this momentous matchup with Canelo Alvarez. He clarified that Crawford is giving this fight his whole attention and is viewing it as just another obstacle in his illustrious career. Crawford is well aware of what must be done within the ring. Bomac underlined, he has been meticulous, methodical, and execution-focused in his preparation. Crawford is more concerned with establishing himself as the finest pound-for-pound fighter than he is with the significance of the situation. Bomac maintains that his fighter is prepared physically, emotionally, and tactically to surprise the boxing community.
A fight rather than maybe boxing.
No, I don't think there's no pressure on Terence because Terence gonna fight the way that he's used to fighting. So by saying all that stuff that Turkey say or anybody else say, that doesn't bother Terence not one bit. You know, we train for one way, the way we're going to fight, and that's the way we're going to get the job done.
People talk about this fight and they talk about the outcome of the fight. The sort of narrative online is that, look, Terence was moving up in weight, but we all know Terence can crack. When that fight was made with Errol Spence, it was seen as a 50-50 fight, and in reality what it was one of the most destructive performances I've ever seen. Should fans be surprised if Terence could manage to stop him?
I think that fans are going to be surprised when he dismantled Canelo. The more time goes on, the more time Terence can settle into that weight, the worse it's off for the opponent.
The last one for me, because I know this time is now at that minute as you were talking, so I just have one more question. If he manages to get through Canelo Alvarez, does that cement his place on the Mount Rushmore of boxing?
You just answered the question.
Rhetorical.
Legendary pundit Larry Merchant made a compelling analogy between the Crawford versus Canelo showdown and major bouts from the past. Merchant brought up Sugar Ray Leonard's historic match with Marvin Hagler, which many believe Leonard had little chance of winning. He emphasized that Crawford's circumstances are similar to that point in boxing history. Merchant claims that the equation is remarkably similar. A naturally larger, stronger champion is up against a smaller, quicker technician. Merchant thinks Crawford has the style to outmaneuver Hagler, just as Leonard did with skill, mobility, and ring savvy. The same goes with Canelo. He pointed out that timing, deft footwork, and the capacity to regulate the fight's tempo are all necessary for winning. Merchant believes that Crawford has the means to perfect the template that has already been written in boxing history.
I asked the great Larry Merchant, I said, do you think Terence Crawford has a chance to beat Canelo Alvarez? And Larry said, Jim, did Ray Leonard get an official decision victory over Marvelous Marvin Hagler? And I said, yes, he did. He said, well, if Ray Leonard could beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez. And I said, why do you say that? He said, same equation. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. Yeah. Over and over and over. He's got to figure the angles and the approaches that will allow him to step in, land to the body, or occasionally upstairs, and then get out. That's what Ray did so effectively against Hagler.
Regarding the fight, renowned trainer Buzzy Ennis made a daring declaration. He maintained that Canelo Alvarez had previously displayed frustrated outbursts, especially when up against slick mobile fighters, and cautioned that Canelo would lose patience with Terence Crawford, since he is a precise kind of fighter. In contrast to opponents like William Skull, who lack the ability to challenge Canelo, Crawford is an expert at setting up angles, executing precise counters, and putting his opponents in awkward positions. Andis thinks that who can enforce their rhythm would win this battle, rather than brute force. If Crawford is able to irritate Canelo, it might pave the way for a victory that defines his career.
You know that if he can't touch you, you know what I mean? That's it. You know what I mean?
Now, did watching that make you feel like Terence Crawford has better than a 50% chance after watching? I know we've seen him against Lara back in the day, but now this is supposed to be a new and improved Canelo.
Yeah. I think, like I said, Terence got a great chance to beat him, man. You know what I mean? Terence can box, Terence can move, Terence can punch. You know what I mean? Terence ain't gonna be doing like Skull. Terence gonna fight you. You know what I mean? He's Terence from the streets, man. You know what I mean? He know what to do. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it. I think he's gonna wind up frustrating Canelo. You know what I mean?
So what's the right way? Because Skull was moving too much. Is as soon as he as soon as you turn him, then is that when you start firing off?
Well, see, the thing is, the right way, the way I would have my fighter doing is I'm boxing him, you know what I mean? And he coming at me, I'm hitting him, pop, 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 pop. And soon he gets set, I'll tie him up. Walking to the center. You know what I mean? We cruise to the ropes and do the same thing and keep on frustrating, hit with the jab, boom, boom. Keep on moving, but also hitting him though. You know what I mean? And he gets frustrated, then he let his guards down. And it's a good night.
Another important person in Crawford's corner, Bernie Thaw Boxer, gave Canelo Alvarez a dire warning. Canelo is tailored for Terence Crawford. He asserted bluntly, Bernie claims that Crawford's capacity to assess opponents and adapt in the middle of a fight is a perfect match for Canelo's strong, methodical, and somewhat predictable style. He commended Crawford's intuition, self-control, and bravery, stating that his boxer possesses the abilities and guts to win. Bernie made it apparent that Crawford's goal is to dominate, not just take part in a super fight. He emphasized that Crawford understands exactly how to win and is prepared to put himself through a lot to achieve it.
A lot of people are saying about Crawford's age, but, you know, no boxing, no life, as Canelo would say. And Crawford still, you know, in age, but he ain't took no punishment. He's cautious, you know, he works hard throughout these years. So, you know, of course you're gonna, you know, you gotta count that in the factor. But in his heart, in his mind, in his spirit, he's still youthful about boxing. He loves boxing, and this is one way to get him up. You know, he's a challenge guy. He loves a challenge, and Canelo is the biggest challenge you can get. You know, we got to go up 2 weight classes, really 3 weight classes to get a guy like that. Hardest puncher, great counter puncher, tons of experience, undisputed champion, unified champion, a couple of divisions champion, and so we didn't get the Pacquiao or the Mayweather, but we getting Canelo, and nothing comes easy to Team Crawford, and expect us to look good on the 12th. Expect us to come out victorious September 12th.
Well, we obviously just saw his fight against Skull, and people didn't obviously enjoy it, the back foot boxing from Skull and whatever, but what fight can fans expect from Bud? Because a lot of people think that it'll be similar to that or the Charlo fight or whatever like that.
The one thing about Crawford is he got guts. Them bums ain't have no guts. Them bums didn't want to win. Crawford want to win. That's it. It ain't about no belt. It ain't about nothing. You didn't sign the contract. We want to win, and he want to be the best, and he is the best. So that's what's going to be the difference. You know, Crawford got guts. He got a fighting spirit. So when you see Crawford, he going to go in there and get busy with Canelo. Don't you even doubt that. You understand? You ain't never seen Crawford stay on the back foot in no fight in his life. You understand? He the type of guy to go get you. So expect him to go get him. We going to do everything we can to him. We going to do whatever we got to do. But one thing you can expect is Crawford is going to step to him. Because you can't beat Canelo going on the back foot forever. You got to go get him. You got to do something. And he better know Crawford is coming.
Lester Martinez, a fighter with professional experience and strong skills, has been testing Crawford in training sessions by giving him pressure, strength, and ring craft similar to Canelo's. Reports indicate that Crawford has looked sharp in these sessions, adjusting to Martinez's power, while showcasing his trademark counterpunching and precision. Crawford's search for quality sparring partners who can mimic the Mexican champion style has pushed him to look for opponents like Martinez and make sure he enters the ring fully acclimated to the size and strength of a super middleweight.
From sparring, like Terence being with Lester Martinez, he's about as good a concoction you could hope for as a sparring partner. I need a guy who can come forward with good timing, who's sharp, who got good power in both hands. Lester Martinez for Terence Crawford. If you're Canelo, I need a guy that can switch. I need a guy with length. I need a guy with power, with skill. He gets Darrell Valsaint, who's 6'1", 154. He switch hits, southpaw, mostly southpaw like Terence, but can switch. Good long. His arms are almost the exact same length as Terence Crawford, and he's a young 23-year-old good athlete. And then I don't know if Canelo's sparring with Marco Verde, who won the silver medal for Mexico, but Marco Verde would, again, 5'11", long arms, southpaw, can switch. I would think between Darrell Valsaint and Marco Verde, Canelo's getting awesome preparation. And then Terence with Lester Martinez. This is speculative, but someone did mention it to me on Twitter when I was talking about Canelo preparing with Valsaint. They go, well, Lester Martinez had to go home with migraines and pull out of a fight, and he was sparring with Terence Crawford. So, I mean, it's speculative, but you're like, well, if you put 2 and 2 together, if he was getting migraines for sparring Terence Crawford and had to pull out of a fight because of it, then that must mean Terence Crawford is doing well in the gym.
The stylistic clash this fight promises has analysts worldwide giddy. Terence Crawford thrives on rhythm, improvisation, and constant movement. He can switch stances with ease, create angles with his pivots, and strike with sudden power. Canelo Alvarez, on the other hand, has long been known for his deliberate, thunderous style. He applies steady pressure, conserving energy until he unleashes explosive combinations. His body shots and uppercuts often overwhelm opponents' accuracy. There is more to this battle than just power versus speed. According to experts, calculation is in opposition to creativity. Crawford adds uncertainty and flexibility, while Canelo represents strength and strategy. One of the most interesting chess matches in contemporary boxing could result from this stylistic disparity.
Predictable. I think Canelo, he likes to go to the same combinations, quite repetitively, whereas Crawford is unpredictable, and despite him not having the size, it's the shots that you don't see that hurt the most, and maybe Crawford can hit him with some unexpected shit. And because of the repetitiveness of Canelo, maybe he can time him, maybe he can counterpunch with him, because Crawford is unbelievable at that. But I'm fascinated to see if Crawford has the power to get the respect of Canelo Alvarez, because when you don't, it's a long night. It's not nice. Like Crawford did well against Madrimov, and he won that fight for me quite clearly. But Madrimov was countering him. If you can counter the counter puncher, you can give them a lot of problems when they're not used to that. And Canelo can counter people really well. And as great as Terence Crawford is, we've never seen him in there with someone with the power of Canelo Alvarez. This is a different world of power. And look, maybe Canelo doesn't throw as many shots as he used to, and maybe Crawford might look at that and go, you know what, I'm going to try and outpoint this guy, not get into a war with him, but just show my boxing, genius, and outpoint him and outland him. That's possible. It is. This is why this is such a fascinating matchup, man. We've been treated to some amazing fights. Usyk Fury, for example, this is another one of those mega fights on Riyadh season.
For Crawford, winning is a natural instinct rather than a choice. Resilience and the capacity to step up have been hallmarks of his career. Crawford is trained to the maximum in order to be ready for Canelo, making sure he can maintain his vigor through 12 taxing rounds. Canelo has reportedly also been honing his tools in the interim. In an attempt to mimic Crawford's speed, agility, and unpredictable nature, the Mexican champion has started sparring with younger opponents. Both sides are making every effort because they recognize how serious this contest is.
Weight classes exist for a reason. So I really like what I'm seeing. Canelo getting young sparring partners in there. He probably is giving them advice and using them for their energy. It's like 50 Cent said in Hustler's Ambition when he said, I need you to hate so I can use you for your energy, right? He's using these younger fighters because Canelo was once the young, hungry fighter, right? And now he's using these younger fighters and sparring with them and working with them as he prepares for this. Now, I think there is something on the line for both fighters. Canelo, payday, you'll want payday, I know that. And also Terence Crawford. But this, especially for Canelo Alvarez, he's not going to want to lose this fight because it's a smaller person. I think it'll be more embarrassing.
Zab Judah, a former champion, gave Terence Crawford high marks. He emphasized Crawford's dexterity, quickness, and capacity to blend force with accuracy. With confidence, Judah anticipated that Crawford's speed and accuracy would be sufficient to put Canelo down. He said that Crawford was one of the few combatants who has the innate skills and intelligence to challenge Alvarez. Judah claims that winning rounds might not be the only goal of the battle. Crawford might have to give a statement knockout in the end.
Let's talk about the fight. What you guys think about the fight? Let's get real.
Crawford in one. No, I'm just playing. Nah, I think Crawford.
You see how you don't? You don't believe in Crawford. You don't believe in Crawford in one.
No. Crawford in one. No, hell no. Crawford in one. No.
Okay.
I got Crawford by decision.
I got Crawford by decision too. And I got Crawford by I got Crawford by a beatdown. If he do what I think he's gonna do, be smooth early and then step it up 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. By the 9th, 10th round, we might see Canelo go sit down. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. If he step it up the way he's supposed to, that I think that I know that he can do. Watch what I say, y'all. Watch what I say.
Sit down.
Sit down.
By stumblage, like by balance or something like that, by hurt.
What's called punches, putting people down. I have watched what I'm telling you. That boy is strong. He's sharp. Speed.
James Derek Canelo Alvarez received advice from one of boxing's most reputable trainers. James noted that Canelo has faced strong hitters and accomplished fighters, but Terence Crawford is not like any of his previous opponents. Crawford has a unique blend of explosiveness and fluidity. Crawford is hard to time, performs well under duress, and frequently gives his best work when the stakes are high, according to James. He cautioned that underestimating Crawford would be a costly error and urged Canelo to give the bout his all.
I think it's a good fight. I think that it's a great challenge because I think both guys have great attributes, right? That, they do, and I think they have great attributes, and I think that, so we're looking to possibly see a great matchup, a great fight, and one that could be an intellectual fight from Crawford, smart, intelligent fight, and I think, Canelo probably has to be the matador in this one.
He has to be the what?
Matador.
Matador, yeah.
Basically, let me see, the bull.
The bull.
You gotta be able to be the bull.
Canelo has to be the bull in this one.
You gotta be it because I think you find somebody faster, more athletic. You gotta put whatever it is that he's doing, he has to be better at that than he is at any other night in his life.
But the big talk here and the thing that I always go back to is just the weight class. Crawford's going up 3 weight classes. The last time he fought, went up on weight, fought Madrimov. You say you don't watch boxing, but he got, a lot of people. Madrimov.
Oh, yeah, I saw that fight.
Yeah, 154.
I saw that fight.
Jiren Boots Ennis, a rising talent, commented on the bout, describing it as a true 50-50 contest. And has recognized Crawford's unparalleled skill set, versatility, and mental toughness in addition to Canelo's size, experience, and demonstrated supremacy in the higher weight divisions. Andis claims that because both men have weapons that can neutralize the other, this fight is unpredictable. He came to the conclusion that supporters should anticipate a fiercely contested match in which every round matters and either guy might win.
50-50 fight, and I guess it's a fight that everybody wants to see, so it's a good fight.
How difficult is it to make that jump from, he only had one fight at 54, so like 147, 154 to 168 pounds?
You said how difficult is it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a little difficult because you got to, what are you going to have to put on, like an extra 14 pounds, so he might be a little slower, or who knows, he could be faster, I don't know. Like, it's just, you got to add more weight and gain more muscle and stuff like that, moving up in weight and things like that, so it's a little harder, but I don't know. We'll see on fight night how he'll look.
What does Terence Crawford have to do to be successful in that fight?
Be smart, take his time, box and move. Don't sit there and let him try to bomb on him.
What about Canelo Alvarez?
I feel like Canelo going to press him, had to press him. Everything behind the stick, catch him, trying to pull out, pull back, anything, cutting the ring off, things like that.
is it one of those situations where you try to punch on like the smaller man's like arms?
You gonna have to bully him. You gonna have to bully the smaller guy.
An educated viewpoint was provided by former middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs, who has sparred with Canelo Alvarez. Although Canelo is a top fighter, Crawford has demonstrated in training that he has the willpower and agility required to contend at this level. According to Jacobs, he implied that in order to test Canelo's endurance and work rate, Crawford could need to apply more pressure at specific moments. Although Jacobs acknowledged the enormity of the task, he was adamant that Crawford had a genuine chance. Having personally observed Crawford's intense training regimen, Jacobs thinks the Omaha native champion can step up and potentially surprise the
Canelo Alvarez, and since then, obviously, naturally, he's slightly declined.
Yeah.
Do you see this decline that people talk about?
Well, I can see in increments because Canelo, which I've always said is an amazing legendary fighter, but he fights in spurts. So sometimes it takes for the opponent to actually initialize him giving the best. When he was faced with me, the opposition that I had and what I was giving him, it was just a lot. Whether it was boxing, whether it was coming forward, but most importantly, it was the punches and bunches. And so he was forced to either stand there, wait for the right time, or be combative and go back at it. So I think that's what Crawford may have to do. Push the pressure, make Canelo fight, or maybe just play it safe, win on points, you know?
That concludes the video for today. Keep an eye